Alright, look, I had to turn the camera on. I don't even know if I've processed this yet. What is going on in Cleveland? No, seriously, what is happening? Because what Kevin Stefanski just did, that wasn't a press conference, that was a grenade. He pulled the pin, dropped it on the podium, and just walked away. And now every single insider, every reporter, every fan is talking about one thing: Shedeur Sanders to the New York Jets. This isn't a rumor anymore. This isn't some fan fiction trade scenario on Reddit. This is real. The Browns head coach just poured gasoline on a fire that the organization has been desperately trying to pretend doesn't exist. We're talking about a level of chaos that even for the Browns feels new. It feels desperate. The reports are that the Jets are, and I'm quoting here, obsessed with getting Shedeur. They see him as the guy, the savior, the one who can finally stop the decades-long quarterback carousel at MetLife. And what does Cleveland do? What does this front office, in its infinite wisdom, decide is the appropriate response? They ask for a second-round pick. A second-round pick for a quarterback they took in the 5th round, for a quarterback who they have systematically refused to play, a quarterback they have buried so deep on the depth chart you'd need an archaeological dig to find him. It's breathtaking. The audacity. It's like finding a bicycle someone threw in a dumpster, spray painting it, and trying to sell it for the price of a Ducati. The internet is having a field day, and they should be. This isn't negotiation. This is a hostage situation where the hostage taker doesn't even seem to want the hostage. It makes no sense. And this all comes back to Kevin Stefanski. Let's talk about those press conferences. Watching him get asked about Shedeur Sanders has become the most uncomfortable theater in all of sports. He shuffles, he gives these vague corporate speak answers. We're just focused on maximizing the skill set of the guys in the room. What does that even mean? What skill set? The skill set of going 3 and out? The skill set of missing open receivers downfield? Meanwhile, he keeps trotting Dillon Gabriel out there, week after week. And look, I want to be fair here. This isn't about piling on Gabriel. The kid is in an impossible spot. The O-line is a mess. The receivers aren't creating separation. He's being asked to be a hero when he's barely equipped to be a game manager. But the tape doesn't lie. He's struggling. The deep ball is erratic. The offense has zero, and I mean zero, the explosiveness. It's painful to watch. It's an offense that is actively holding back a defense that is playing at a championship level. But Stefanski is dying on that hill. He has planted his flag so firmly on Dillon Gabriel is our guy that he is willing to let the entire season and maybe his entire career in Cleveland go down in flames just to prove a point. What is the point? That he's a good evaluator? Because the evidence on the field is screaming the exact opposite. Every pass that sails out of bounds, every drive that stalls at midfield is another piece of evidence that this experiment is not working. And this is where it gets dark. This is where you get into the whispers, the reports from behind the scenes. Why is Shedeur buried? We've heard the chatter. He's too confident. He's too flashy. He's not the mold. He's not the quiet, deferential, yes sir, no sir rookie that so many of these old guard coaches and front offices want. They want a guy who will just shut up and learn. But here's the beautiful poetic irony of this whole mess. The very things that supposedly got Shedeur blackballed or put on this internal do not play list. That's exactly what the New York Jets need. New York doesn't want a wallflower. They need a guy with swagger. They need a guy who can handle the back pages of the Post. They need someone who believes he's the best player on the field, even when he's not, because that's the only way you survive the New York media. They need someone who can walk into that building and change the entire culture, the entire vibe of a franchise that has been a punchline for as long as I can remember. And Cleveland has him. They have that guy, and they're actively trying to sabotage his value while simultaneously demanding a king's ransom for him. It is organizational malpractice on a scale that is hard to comprehend. And if you want proof, if you want the smoking gun, let's go back to that game a few weeks ago, the infamous back tightness incident. Shedeur is suddenly listed as inactive. Okay, injuries happen, but wait, he was on the field for warm-ups. He was moving, he was throwing, he looked fine, he looked ready, and then just before kickoff, after the coaches saw him warm up, suddenly he's not healthy enough to even hold a clipboard on the sideline. Come on, who do you think you're fooling? You can't sell that. Not to the fans, not to the media, and certainly not to the other players in that locker room. That move was so transparent it was practically invisible. It was a clear message. We will find any reason to not play you. And for what? To protect Dillon Gabriel's feelings? To prove some stubborn point to the GM? It's insanity. It's the kind of decision making that makes you question everything about the leadership of this team. And don't think the other players don't see it. You want to know what happens when an offense is this inept, when the coaching decisions make no logical sense. You get what we saw from Myles Garrett, an absolute meltdown. We're talking helmet throwing, screaming at the sky, pure unfiltered rage on the sideline. That wasn't just losing team frustration. That was, I am an all-pro, a defensive player of the year candidate, and I am watching my prime years get wasted by this circus frustration. That is a 5-alarm fire. When your franchise player, the cornerstone of your entire team, the guy who is supposed to be the leader, is that visibly disgusted, the locker room is gone. It's over. You've lost it. And what was Stefanski's response? More corporate babble. We gotta maintain composure. We gotta focus. No, you gotta fix the problem. You are the one creating the environment for this frustration. You can't put out a fire with memos about fire safety. So now we're here. The Jets are watching this dumpster fire and they're just sitting there with popcorn. They know the Browns are a mess. They know Stefanski has lost control of the narrative and they're swooping in. They want the asset that Cleveland refuses to use. And Cleveland's response, this second-round pick demand, it's either the most genius negotiating tactic of all time or the dumbest. And I am leaning heavily towards the latter. What is the play here? Are they trying not to trade him? Is this just a way to shut the Jets up so they can say, hey, we tried, they just didn't meet the price? All while you let a potential trade asset rot on the bench, his value decreasing every single week that Dillon Gabriel throws another interception. It's the Browns. It's the most Browns thing ever. It's like they're allergic to success. They're allergic to making the logical common sense move. They'd rather be right and lose than be wrong and win. Let's really try to get inside Kevin Stefanski's head for a second. What is the end game? He came in, he won Coach of the Year, he had that playoff win. He was supposed to be the guy, the adult in the room who finally fixed the factory of sadness. And for a minute, it looked like he was. But this feels different. This feels like a coach who has lost the plot. Is this an ego thing? Is it that he didn't draft Shedeur in the first round, so he can't be the answer? Is it that Dillon Gabriel is his guy, the one he pounded the table for? And admitting Gabriel isn't, it is admitting he was wrong. In the NFL, admitting you're wrong is apparently a cardinal sin. Coaches would rather lose 10 games in a row than stand up at a podium and say, I made a mistake. We're making a change. They'd rather talk about execution and process and getting better in practice. This stubbornness is what gets coaches fired. It's not just the losses, it's the way you lose. And losing while the entire world is screaming at you that there's a potential solution sitting right on your bench, wearing a baseball cap. That's how you lose a fan base. That's how you lose a locker room. And that's how you lose your job. Myles Garrett's helmet throw wasn't just a moment of anger. It was the sound of the clock ticking on Stefanski's tenure. It was the sound of the captain of the ship realizing the coach is steering them directly into an iceberg, all while talking about how great the navigation process is. Now let's flip it. Let's look at the Jets. You almost have to feel bad for them, but you don't, because they're the Jets. They are so desperate. They've been in quarterback purgatory since Chad Pennington's shoulder was still attached. They've tried everything. The high draft picks who bust, the washed up veterans, the reclamation projects. Nothing works. They bring in Aaron Rodgers, and his Achilles explodes 4 snaps into the season. It's a cursed franchise. So now they see Shedeur Sanders. They see the arm talent. They see the mobility, they see the college production, but more than anything, they see the swagger, they see the personality. They're thinking, this kid won't be scared. And they're probably right, but they're also the Jets. They are the place where quarterback careers go to die. They are a monument to broken dreams. Is it possible Shedeur goes there and just gets fed to the wolves? Absolutely. Their offensive line isn't much better than Cleveland's. Their coaching situation is always on thin ice. It's a pressure cooker. But here's the difference. In New York, he'd get to play. He'd get a shot. He'd fail or succeed on his own terms. In Cleveland, he's not even being given the option to fail. He's just in storage. He's a collector's item that the owner refuses to take out of the box. He's like a classic car sitting in a garage, and the owner just talks about how great it could be, but he never puts gas in it. And the Jets know Cleveland is desperate, but Cleveland is acting like they're not. This second round pick, it's a game of chicken. Who's gonna blink first? The Browns, who are imploding, or the Jets, who are dying of thirst in a quarterback desert? My money is on the Jets caving, but not all the way. They'll offer a third, or a fourth, and a player. And the Browns, if they have any sense at all, should take it and run. But we're talking about the Browns. Sense is not always on the menu. They'll probably hold out for the second, the Jets will walk, and Shedeur will just continue to be a talking point instead of a football player. This whole thing, it's bigger than just the Browns and the Jets. It really is. It's about this old school NFL mentality, this obsession with the mold. What does a quarterback look like? How does he act? Shedeur Sanders comes in, he's got the name recognition, he's got the confidence, he's not afraid of the camera, and for some reason in 2025, that's still seen as a negative by some of these front offices. It's baffling. You'd rather have a guy who gives you all the right coach speak answers and throws for 150 yards and 2 picks than a guy who might be a little brash but has the talent to actually win you a football game. It's upside down thinking. It's how teams stay bad. They're afraid to take risks. They're afraid of personality. They want robots. They want replaceable cogs in a machine. And now, a team is being punished for it. Cleveland's offense isn't just bad, it's boring, it's predictable, it has no juice. And they have a guy who is, by all accounts, pure, unadulterated juice. And they've got him locked in a closet, and they've put a for sale sign on the closet door that says, price $1 million. It's unbelievable, and what message does this send to other young players? Don't be too confident. Don't have too much personality. Just toe the line, and maybe you'll get a shot even if the guy in front of you is terrible. It's a terrible message. The league is moving towards explosive, dynamic, personality-driven quarterbacks. Look at Mahomes. Look at Allen. Look at Stroud. And Cleveland is over here trying to win with a pop gun while they've got a bazooka in the armory that they refuse to load. You know, we get lost in the X's and O's, the draft picks, the trade talk. Let's just think about the human beings here for a second. Think about Shedeur Sanders. This kid has done everything he was supposed to do. He dominated in college. He got drafted. He's showing up to practice. He's getting ready to play. And he's watching his career, his rookie contract, tick away while a team refuses to play him for reasons that cannot be football related. Because you cannot watch this Browns offense and tell me with a straight face that Shedeur Sanders doesn't deserve a single snap. You can't. That level of frustration, it's got to be unimaginable. And then to have your team, the people who are supposed to be developing you, actively leak that they want a second round pick for you, it's just disrespectful. It's saying, we value you at this incredibly high price, but we don't value you enough to even put you in the game as a backup. The cognitive dissonance is staggering. It's a mind game. And think about Myles Garrett. We talked about his anger. That's a real person. That's a guy who puts his body on the line, who fights through double teams, who is generating Hall of Fame level production, and he has to watch this. He has to go into the locker room every day and look at the coaches and know they're not putting the best team on the field. They are choosing to be worse than they could be. How do you maintain respect for a coaching staff like that? How do you buy in? You don't. You throw your helmet. You lash out because it's the only rational response to complete and utter irrationality. So here we are. The trade deadline is looming. Something has to break. The situation is untenable. You cannot continue this. You can't keep having your franchise player melt down. You can't keep giving these ridiculous, flimsy excuses in press conferences. You can't keep leaking an insane asking price for a player you won't even dress. Kevin Stefanski is at a crossroads. This is the moment that will define his career in Cleveland and maybe his career as a head coach. He can do one of two things. He can swallow his pride, admit his Dylan Gabriel experiment has failed, and either play Shedeur Sanders to see what he has, or trade him for a reasonable price and get something for him. That's option A. That's the humble, logical, what's best for the team option. Or he can do option B. He can double down. He can dig his heels in. He can keep insisting the process is working. He can keep blaming execution. He can keep feeding Gabriel to the wolves and keep Shedeur on ice. He can let the team fracture, let the fans revolt, and let Myles Garrett's frustration boil over into a full-on trade demand based on everything we've seen so far, based on the back tightness, based on the press conference tap dancing, based on the stubborn refusal to change anything. Which option do you really think he's going to choose? This is the Cleveland Browns. This is Kevin Stefanski. He's going to ride this thing straight into the ground. And the New York Jets are sitting there, checkbook in hand, just waiting for the explosion. And when it happens, it's going to be spectacular. I'm telling you, you cannot make this up. The NFL gives us drama every single year, but this is a special kind of dysfunctional masterpiece. A second-round pick. Unbelievable. We're going to be watching this every single day until that deadline hits. This is far from over. This is just getting started.